わしらの仲良しっぷりにやきもちを焼いておる。あーんじゃ。
My friends, we are back. This episode of Sasaki and Peeps was effing funny. This episode was hilarious. Like I literally told myself like, yo, they got me. They brought me back to it because I told you guys last week, if you guys weren't here for the episode review, episode 4 kind of took me out of Sasaki and Peeps, and it really sucked. Or I should say episode 5. Episode 5 brought me out of Sasaki and Peeps. And it sucked because episode 1 was probably one of the best episode 1s of the winter season so far. It was a banger of an episode. But last week, I really felt like they strayed away too far. And they're like, oh, well, how about one more thing, right? It's already isekai. It's already, split between two worlds. And then they're like, well, what about magical girls? And it's like, well, that's like, dude, like we don't need that much stuff going on. Anyways, this episode though brought me back. This one reintroduced the psychic girl that was an enemy now kind of joining the fray. And I was like, yes. This episode made me excited because yeah, she's another Loli type looking girl, but the Hoshizaki told us that like, oh, she might be in the triple digits, so she might be like 100 years old. So regardless if she's a grandma, like super, like, the greatest of great grandmas, she's of age, so I'm like, yes, finally our boy Sasaki got somebody who's not like this, like, walking prison sentence, which, at the end of the day in Japan, I know it's like a fine line. I know like their age of consent is like 16. And basically once you're 16, you can pretty much enter in relationships if you want to. But it's still kind of one of those things that it's like, there's like a certain level. Like if he was like 21, if he was like a young man, okay, it's not as weird, but like bro's 40, you know what I mean? Like bro's a 40-year-old. So it's like one of those things. So I was so happy and excited. I was like, yes, our bro finally got somebody who shows interest in him, who, isn't like 12. Like finally. But of course she has to be a Loli as well too. So because he has this walking Loli collection in the other world and in this world. So I just think that anyways, this episode though was like really, really funny. I think the funniest scene, like, had me dying of laughter, was the scene with his chief when they're talking about the cameras and Hoshizaki's all up in arms, like, how you have a camera? How dare you? It's sexual harassment, blah blah blah. And he was like, "Whoa, I'm gay." And then, but the best thing happens. Hoshizaki then looks at Sasaki, and he's just like, like I cracked up so effing hard, and then the chief was like, "Whoa, just to be clear, not my type, not my cup of tea." So it's like he got taken up a peg, but then taken down a peg too, because the chief was like, "No, like not looking at that." So that whole thing was just effing hilarious. I thought that was just like really, really, really funny stuff. The stuff with the pickled plums, I thought that was really, really funny. The chief having that moment, and then Hoshizaki was like, sour face. That was hilarious. I thought that was really funny. And then later on in the episode, obviously, for whatever reason, daddy issues, Hoshizaki is heavily interested in our boy Sasaki. And, she did the very schoolgirl thing of like making him like a bento box type deal, which I'm sure that feels pretty good at any age. But, she makes him like some rolled omelets and stuff, which are very hard to make, by the way. You need a specific skillet to make it, and you have to do, you do kind of have to roll them with chopsticks. It's very hard. Anyways, I don't know why I even mentioned that. I tried it before. It's so hard. But she makes him like some with like, like the shredded pickle plums and stuff. And then the new crazy grandma Loli eats it, and they share a scene, and she calls her out. She was like, "Yo, are you jealous of me?" And she's like, "Ah." Funny stuff. Like, I just really enjoyed, like, there was like a lot of funny moments this episode, and I really thought like this episode of Sasaki and Peeps brought it back. And I think the reason that this was so entertaining is it didn't focus on really the other world. It didn't really like focus on this world too much, like the ongoings. It was just kind of like a more of a like social episode, and the banter between the characters is what made this episode really, really enjoyable. And that's what I thought was really funny. The banter between the new Grandma Loli and Hoshizaki and Sasaki and the chief, like the buddy cop, you know, kind of like, you know, cop comedy stuff really works. So anyways, I thought that was just a really highlight for this episode, and Sasaki and Peeps episode 6 brought me back, and now I'm like looking forward to next week. Now I'm still not hype. I'm still not content. I'm still not like a fan of like this magical girl storyline and stuff like that. Not because I don't like magical girls. I do. I love Sailor Moon, you know, whatever else, putty, whatever. Like, I have no problem with magical girls when the show is about magical girls. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem with the shows about, you know, a magical girl or girls and there's transformations. I don't mind any of that when the show's about that, but I just feel like this show isn't, but it is now. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where, like, I was like, well, we already had an isekai. We already had this cool duality of worlds. We already had this old man being our main character. Like, there's a lot of things working for it. It's like, did we need that one more thing? I guess that can be left for interpretation. That's left to you and me, the viewer, to decide whether it is or isn't. Because this is a story that they're telling. So, anyways, episode 6, though, I thought was 9 out of 10. Like, this was just effing funny. I laughed a lot this episode. I really enjoyed it. All right. See you next week, my friends. Peace out. I need to dust my camera. It's dusty.